I watched, and so I watched this so you didn't have to. The new, he was Raging Bull, Robert De Niro. I watched the new Robert De Niro series. There's like 6 episodes, and he plays a former president, and it's 0 day, and all of the lights and communications and everything go out for a minute, and it killed all these people, and airplanes crashed out of the sky, and what happened? And he's got a commission now from the new president to be, because he's the most trusted guy in the world. He's so credible, and he's got to figure out, will he figure out in time? And so I watched this thing because I really want to understand Robert De Niro, because I think the guy he's lost it. Would you agree? I mean, I think the guy has really, truly gone over the edge on his Trump Derangement Syndrome.
Yeah, definitely on that front. Because he's a great actor.
He's a great actor.
But he's never been right on politics. But he does seem to have gone to a new level.
He's gone to just a new level on this stuff. And I really would like to understand. So I saw this and I thought, I'm going to watch this because nobody else in the audience will, because it's Robert De Niro. But I'll watch it because I want to understand. I figured this was a message film. And it is. It is. And
shocking.
Yeah, I know. And so I wanted to know what the message was. And I get to the end of it, and he gives this long speech. And yes, I am going to spoil the ending because you're not going to watch it.
This is good. This is encouraging, though. You're giving a spoiler alert.
Yeah,
before you say the ending of the movie and ruin it for everyone, you're actually telling people this is how you're supposed to do it.
There you go.
The Hall of Fame is kicking in.
Right. So you're watching this movie, and at first he's given this commission, which they've suspended the Constitution, for this committee, habeas corpus, and he can scoop up anyone he wants. He can question them without lawyers. He can use enhanced interrogate, whatever he wants. And he was put on the committee as the head of it because he'd never do those things. And then he does all of those things. He puts a plastic bag over somebody's head as he's questioning them, and he's supposedly the good guy here. And I'm like, okay, Bob, I don't know what the narrative is on this one, unless I'm supposed to hate your character, because I don't agree with that. And he eventually comes to the conclusion, hey, maybe we shouldn't have done. Good for you. But at the end, he gives this speech. He finds out who was responsible for it, and it was, surprise, surprise, big tech. But big tech in cahoots with big money and people on both sides of the aisle in Washington, D.C., that just think that there has to be a unifying moment to stop all these crazies at the fringes. And it's these, big kind of deep state people that think that they should control everything. And if they could just get this to wake people up, then they could pass this bill that gives them extraordinary powers, and then they can fix the country. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I think, Bob, that we agree on the bad guy here, because that's what's happening. People on both sides of the aisle have got into this deep state thing. They think they know better than the average person. They know better than the Constitution. Am I right on this so far? Right? Isn't that what's happening? Isn't that what Donald Trump, isn't that what we're against?
Right.
Right? Okay. And then he's being told, look, you're going to expose this. It's only going to cause more problems. Just let these people resign and go away. And at first he says, okay. And I thought, that can't be the ending here, because it can't be the ending.
Yeah.
And in the end, again, I'm going to wreck it, but you don't want to watch a Robert De Niro movie or a series. My God, it took me 6 hours to go through this thing. My wife was away, so it was me and the dog and Bob De Niro. So I'm watching this thing, and at the end, he says, no, you know what's going to heal us is transparency and knowing who the bad guys are and the good guys. And so here are the bad guys. And he's standing in a joint session of Congress, and he says, the guy behind me, the Speaker of the House, he's one of the bad guys. And everybody's, whoa. And he says, and people on this side of the aisle and that side of the aisle. And he starts naming names. And I'm like, Bob, I don't know why you're crazy. I really don't know what you're so upset about, because I think that if that's what the left feels like, that's what the right feels like too. That's kind of like where we're like, hey, Kash Patel, go in, release the secrets, stop, give us radical transparency. It's the only thing that's going to heal us.
It's interesting. I mean, I think part of it is everyone wants to see themselves as Jimmy Stewart. Like, everyone has that. The reason why that movie connected with so many people is because everyone has that vibe, right? Everyone thinks that's who they are.
Right.
And it's like when we say all the time, like, how can you think that going against the machine means going against the Republicans who are completely out of power, going back a couple of years? Like, I don't, of course, what do you mean? When you're going against the machine, you should be standing up against the machine who's in Washington, and they're mainly all Democrats. I don't understand how you don't see that.
Right.
They never do, because no one wants to see themselves as working with the machine. Right?
But I think it's more than that. I think it is blindness because of their hatred of Donald Trump. And look, you could say Donald Trump is going to turn into a dictator. Well, maybe. I don't have your crystal ball. All right. Maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. He says a lot of things, it's Donald Trump, that you should not take seriously, but you want to understand that he means direction, right? Isn't that the seriously? Literally. Yeah. You don't want to take it literally. You want to take it seriously. Got it? So he says a lot of things that you're like, no, he's not going to go in and shut down the press. However, will he go out and expose everything? Yeah. And does he like the right? No. Did you see him speak at CPAC? He was like, we're not really conservative. We're common sense. And that kind of bothered me. Because, no, I'm a conservative. It means conserving the things that our founders put together. Then I'm a conservative. But I don't know how he defines it in that moment. But I would consider that common sense as well. But I don't understand. How can people like Robert De Niro have all this hatred when he's exposing all of this corruption? Now, you can say that's not enough to balance the budget, and you're right. It's not. But it's a good start. How you could say, look, if people were doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing and funneling money without and it is going to NGOs, to a political organization like the Tides Foundation, I think those people should go to jail. And I would say that if they were, funneling that money to some Republican Tides Foundation.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, because you mentioned the Trump Derangement Syndrome, I think a lot of this comes into that the opposition to Trump is essentially the main part of their identity at this point. Like, it's been
it is. It's who they are.
Yeah, it's who they are.
Yeah.
There's that book Atomic Habits that is a big bestseller.
Yeah.
And one of the things it talks about in there is to not think about, like, if you want to do something, like you want to go and run, a marathon one day. Mm-hmm. You have to go out there and you have to take those first steps. You have to run a couple times. You're going to probably feel bad the first few times you run out there. But one of the ways he talks about thinking about it is not thinking about it as, I need to go out and run. I need to go out and run. You have to think about it as, I am a runner. And when it becomes part of your identity. For example, your level of self-control, Sarah, would you say minimal for Glenn? Would you say it's impressive in any way? No, right? Like, it's pathetic.
It might have been this weekend when my wife was gone. Might have been.
We know that if we went to your home right now, there'd be piles of Hostess wrappers all around your television set.
Well, no, she came back late last night, so those are all in the garage.
Right. But, however, there's one thing I know you never, ever, ever screw up on, which is taking a drink. I'm serious. You are a recovering alcoholic. It's how you describe yourself. It is your identity. It is part of it.
It's part of it.
It's part of your identity.
The control against it. The disease does not define me, but
No, I don't mean it's all of your identity. I'm saying in this part, when it comes to alcohol consumption, you don't get up every day and go, I probably won't have a drink today. You are a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know
I'm not going to drink.
You're not going to drink. And you don't let that enter into your mind that there's any other option.
Right.
Except when I, bring out a bottle and tempt you. But other than that,
and
generally speaking.
I'm for that.
Right.
I'm for more of that.
You like that.
I love the smell of whiskey. I do. It's a problem.
Okay, so maybe this is a bad example, but my point
You're making me want to drink.
My point here is that when you have that rule that is like, it's not just some rule like, when you used to say, I won't drink until 5 o'clock.
Yes.
That's a rule, a little rule you made for yourself.
Correct.
Now you never drink. You're a recovering alcoholic. It's something you are sober. You've been sober for this amount of time.
I'm going to drink if you don't get this back to Trump Derangement Syndrome.
The point is, for a lot of these celebrities, opposition to Trump is the same as you're a recovering alcoholic.
Yes.
They just see it as a central part of their identity. And if they are proven wrong, it not only overturns some point they made on television, it overturns their entire identity when it comes to politics.
Because they haven't allowed for any other option. They haven't allowed for, look, I didn't mind the Republican Party. I thought the Republicans in this whole, let's go march off to war and save the world. 30 years ago, I was all for that. I was like, yeah, that's because we're right. You got to leave an option, a door open to new information going, I think I got to take the exit here.
Yeah, understand your fallibility. Sometimes,
yes.
We've made thousands of points about Donald Trump. Some of them I think were really, really right. Some of them were wrong. And we've talked about those that were wrong. It's important to be able to allow yourself to understand that sometimes you're not right on something. And it shouldn't be this thing that you possess and hold to your heart like it's your religion. That's where they are. Like, well, God's got to be, God is real. And if he's not, then my whole life dissolves. That's where they are with Trump. Trump is evil. Trump is Hitler. And if he's not Hitler, my entire life has been a waste. That's how they think about it. And I don't think they can come out and understand.
I saw that movie and I thought, I'd have to hit him with a tranquilizer dart first. But I'd love to sit down and talk to him. Because I'm like, I don't understand what you have a problem with. Because I'm for all of those things that you had in the movie. I'm for all of those things that you were I think that you were trying to preach as your message. I don't get it, Bob. And
he'd have a really dumb response to you.
Yeah, he would. It's not worth having that conversation because it wouldn't be an honest one.